this computer. We're not going to
I'm
officially.
so flattered. I'm just so thrilled.
I'm so happy that you said yes.
Oh, well, God. See, I'm drinking my coffee with a straw because otherwise it would ruin my lipstick, you know.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You gotta do a lot of preparation
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
sure that your lip color stays through all of these things. These are the tips they don't even really tell you about.
I know.
Those are the tips you got to pay for,
Oh,
right?
gee. See, I did my eyebrows even back to where they used to be about 20 years ago. They're more expressive this way.
Yeah, I love your eyebrows.
Oh, thanks.
Um,
Once in high school, these horrible girls, Joan Thielander, she was sitting behind me at a football game, and I was sitting with the other most unpopular girl in the class, Chris. And Joan tapped me on the shoulder and she said, "You know, your eyebrows would look better if you hadn't plucked so much of the hair out."
okay.
I mean, they almost used to meet in the middle, which I wish they now did. But anyway.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You can never win. It's always going to change.
I know.
There's always going to be something.
The girl who was sitting next to her said to me one time in the hall, she said, "Linda, the hair on your arm, you have so much hair on your arms." So when I went home and I told my mother, she said, "Well, what did you say?" And I said, "I didn't say anything." She should have said, "Well, at least I'm not rude."
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Down with rudeness.
Hmm?
Down with rudeness.
Oh, God. Yes.
Well, why don't I just tell you what I want to do?
Okay.
And then we can try to make this, shape this.
Okay.
So, I'm doing this talk show as, my part of my thesis. This would have been something I would have done in person. It would have been live on a stage, much like we've done before. But my goal is to, make something that's like the Baltimore art world hee-haw, right? Like with dumb jokes and music and really cool guests.
Wonderful.
So, and the approach that I'm taking this time is as if it's a telethon. So like one long thing, right? Okay. I'm going to go full screen. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier. Okay. Now I'm on full screen. So, we don't really have the restriction. Like, I don't have to be like only 5 minutes, but I do want to keep the whole interview that goes up about, like 10 to 15 minutes, so I don't want to try to do like a career retrospective necessarily. But I'd love to just talk about some highlights.
Okay.
Find out what you are doing now, some good stuff that's come out of this quarantine, anything you got coming up. And then the other part that I'd like to connect thematically to my overall project is, my overall project is talking about the healthcare system and mother-daughter relationships and mobility, getting around. So these are the three main themes of the show.
Okay.
The performances that I'm doing as part of this show, because I'm doing a self-interview. I'll be interviewing myself.
Cool.
And, doing some performances, and those will be intercut with the different.
Oh, wonderful. To fit in thematically, or just to relieve tension.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you get up there and play your guitar.
Yeah. So it'll be I wanted to keep the variety show idea alive in this, because before it would be I'd do I was going to do 7 nights in a row, 7 nights of shows. And then I'd have like, tonight, it's Monday night, I'm gonna have Linda Franklin and Jack Pender. And like, and then I'd talk to you and then I'd do my
Yeah.
performance. And then
Okay.
the next day it would be two other, it would be like, it was gonna be like that.
Okay.
And I was like, I really want to keep that going because I feel like, I mean, you know how it is. Like you look at a web show, you can't spend all of your attention on it. Like you get
Oh,
distracted, it's too much, right? So like I
yeah.
don't want to try to do like an hour long performance
Right.
that's just me,
It
right? Because who cares?
would be very entertaining, but
I mean, I can try, but you know what I mean. It's just like
yeah.
even my best of friends would be like, "Oh, I'll watch that when I I'll watch that when I feel like it." You know what I'm saying? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? This is just the way this is the way we live now.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, like we can kind of talk through all three of those ideas, or if there's one thing that really strikes you. But I feel like if we start the conversation, if we keep the conversation to 15-ish minutes, I've got a little egg timer
Oh, okay.
that I'll use to like just so that I know.
I do tend to go on, so you can always, like give me the high sign.
Sure, sure. Um, but I just want to, I want to have fun with this.
Okay, good.
So maybe I'll try to like do like basically 5 minutes per topic, like
Okay.
introduction, what are you up to? Let's talk about good things from the pandemic, and then let's talk about the thematic stuff.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Sure.
Cool. All right. So let's. I'll just do an introduction
Okay.
and say, say what I would have to say. And I'm recording.
If you introduce me, you have to introduce.
Yes, of course, of course, of course, of course. Is there anything else you want me to introduce?
No, just make sure it's Linda Campbell Franklin.
Okay,
Yeah, that's all.
I will. I will. All right.
AKA Barking Lips. That's a name I've had for about 30 years now.
I love different names. Maybe we can talk about that too.
Okay, good.
This is good. Well, I'm really pleased to have as our first guest of this. You're the first guest that I've recorded with in this run, Linda. So I'm very excited to start with you. Um, this is Linda Franklin, Linda Campbell Franklin, one of my dearest and fondest friends here in Baltimore, a career artist if ever there was one, and the author of Rahne Alexander, which is a memoir, graphic novel memoir, right? Do you have a copy of that, Linda?
Yeah.
It is great. Hold it up a little higher.
I wish I could do one here in Baltimore, 1993 to 2020.
I think that would be an amazing thing. So this is an amazing, amazing book. Well, welcome, Linda. It's so good.
Okay.
Tell us about your book. Tell us what you've been up to.
One thing I've been doing is trying to get rid of some stuff, but I just can't help myself. I brought home 3 more things today from the alley. Fortunately, I have a garage.
Yes.
This is also how I assemble my writing. Is I just keep assembling things. If you could see, well, you can see in the background here. I wish I could show you more of my. See, I've got everything from a skeleton to bones and lots of art, and
I love your piano player.
my piano player, whose name is Her.
Her.
Yes.
I love this. One thing I love about this time is that I get to see inside everybody's house just a little bit.
Love it. I love it.
Just a little like narrow window, right? But
Yeah.
you kind of get a little personality feel, that kind of thing. I think it's a beautiful thing. I've always wondered what your house looked like.
Well, God, I can't wait till I can invite you to come over here.
Yes.
Maybe you need a spacesuit or
I might. Do you have one that'll fit me?
No, but I wish, or at least a big fishbowl over your head, with some something. Damn.
I think, yeah, let's bring that look back.
Okay.
After the
But
vaccine.
what I've been up to is besides trying to get rid of some things, and I take them all to a charity, one or another charities, is I'm trying to make myself do the final edit on a novel that I started about 8 years ago,
Uh-huh.
which is now 115,000 words.
Oh my Lord.
And it's called Their a Double-Breasted Overcoat. And it's about two conjoined twins who are in their 70s.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know where I got the idea, except I've always been fascinated by that concept of sometimes they're one, sometimes they're two, and I did a performance for what was the name of that underground like nightclub that on
14 Karat Cabaret?
Cabaret, yeah.
14
Karat Cabaret.
Mhm.
As the twins singing. And it was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then besides that, I write lots of other things. And I draw lots of cartoons for Instagram.
I love your cartoons. I love your
Okay.
cartoons. You're so prolific. And I think that's an amazing, amazing thing.
Oh, well, maybe it's all the coffee I drink.
You're just boundless fountain of ideas. And
That's, you see, that's the whole thing about poor Rowena. She wears a colander on her head because she's got to let some of them out.
well, of course.
And I just never stop. It's always been that way. And what it means in a way is it's a wonderful fountain of stuff, to make into something
Hmm.
written or drawn or whatever. But it's also, it drags on you because constantly there's 50 ideas, streaming out from behind your head as you walk along.
I know that feeling well.
I know you do. I'm sure you do. But you're much better at funneling and targeting.
Well, I try anyway.
Yeah.
I try. I think it's interesting that you had mentioned that you take your writing from the stuff that you collect.
Yeah, a
And
lot of it. Yeah.
I'm a collagist. I'm an assemblage artist in many ways.
Yes.
But that isn't always like a physical thing. I think of it in the ways that it's a way I approach songwriting. It's a way that I approach video making.
Mhm.
But I feel like this is maybe one of those places where our interests and practices overlap a little bit.
Yes, I think so a lot. I'm very, very keen on assembling as in every way. I mean, friends, I love to assemble friends, which I haven't been able to do now for
Mm,
a long time.
yeah.
And
Great at parties, Linda. Let me just tell you. Whenever there's a party and you're there, it's always so much better.
thank you. My mother and father would love to have heard that. They were born in 1908 and they were both librarians.
Oh, wow.
So
They're awesome.
talk about assemblage. And my father, when they were retired, and my father would be driving along and with my mother in the passenger seat, usually it was my father who would slam on the brakes and he'd say, "There's something of value." And he would get out and get it and put it in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And one time when they were taking a trip out west, my mother was the one who saw it. And it was a boulder the size of bigger than a bowling ball. And she rode the entire trip out west and back again to Toledo with her feet on the boulder. Because in those days, you didn't have a seat belt, but I have that boulder now.
You have that boulder
I do.
in your house.
Yes. No, out in the yard. It's out in the yard.
That's amazing. That is so amazing. Oh, that's so good. That's so,
Good.
it's so interesting how we like we adhere to certain things that our parents give us, I guess. That's
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much rich metaphor in you carrying a boulder that your parents picked up, right?
And I've moved with it. They moved with it 3 times, and I moved with it twice. So
That's Sisyphean, isn't
it's
it?
a wonderful boulder. I love it. I wish I could carry it in, but I couldn't. It would drop right through to the basement if I dropped it. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
Well, if I can say one more thing about what I got from my mother,
Yes.
and back in the 50s, you had to change the hem of your skirt every season, either up or back down again.
Uh-huh.
And I would stand on the footstool, which my brother has now, that footstool, and my mother would pin my hem, and then I would do the same for her. And I got my hem crooked one time. And she said, I was very worried. She said, don't worry. She said, just keep moving and nobody will notice. And as you can tell, that is from the time I was like 14, what is that, 66 years. That's been my motto. Just keep moving and nobody will notice.
That's so good.
Isn't it it would be a great title for something.
Maybe the next volume of Rowena Asunder.
I really should do it, shouldn't I?
I
Yeah.
really think that would be amazing. I
Yeah.
think it's so interesting that just kind of the ways that you play with time. Okay, what I'm going with this is your first volume of your autobiography. Well, it's not really an autobiography, but it kind of is.
Yes.
Rowena Sunder. So this is the travels of an artist from the Midwest to New York. What are the dates that it follows?
1965 to 70.
Only 5 years.
Yeah, because I was there till 1987, but it would have been like 800 pages. So
Such an amazing thing. So one of the things that I loved about it is that you had requested art from like all of your friends to like there's a gallery sequence in there.
yeah.
And so you wanted all of these cool people from Baltimore and I'm sure elsewhere.
And New York, yeah.
Yeah. So and you asked me, which was wonderful, and so I really like the community building aspect of what you did with that because it made everybody a part of it. But like also, I think that it's so funny that you made like this time jump. Like they're going to see. Well, I don't know what year it is in the book where they're going to the gallery, but
I know.
all this art from the future is on display, which I think is amazing.
Here's yeah, I think this is yours. Can you see it?
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so good.
So what I did, I just had this is Andy Warhol, who I sat next to on the subway one time.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, was he a creepy, weird guy, but that's him leaving the gallery. He didn't have anything to say, but I like to make up stuff. So
yeah.
Anyway,
he should have written about the day that he met Linda Franklin on the subway.
Well, he should have. Darn it.
He should have, but he didn't. So
he didn't. No,
it's his loss, really.
But he was an accumulator. He had a warehouse in New Jersey where everything that he had written down or done during the day would be trucked over there to the warehouse in New Jersey every day.
Yeah, I remember reading something in maybe it was his diaries or maybe it was biography, where he talked about his practice or somebody was talking about his practice of just like, well, here's I collected a bunch of stuff and then I just put it in a banker's box and labeled it and went it to storage. And I was like, what a fascinating way to do it. And also that's also how you always know where everything is.
Yes, that would be nice. Yeah.
always good to know where your stuff is.
I mean, you do run out of wall space after a while.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I love your wall, by the way.
Thank you, thank you. This is the
Very
studio
wonderful.
I've been in for 15 years.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
and I'm actually for my thesis show, I'm actually recreating this studio at the gallery on campus,
oh God.
just to kind of show, like how I'm able to like push all the garbage to the sides.
Like
like
in real size or in miniature?
like in basically real size. The space that I have at the gallery is roughly the exact same space that I have here.
Wow.
And I'm like, because I'm like, well, how am I going to do this? My original plan was to make the set in the gallery for the show, and then I would do the show in the gallery,
Wow.
right? So now that I'm doing the show in my studio, I'm like, well, I'm just going to take my studio and take it down, take it down there.
I just love that. I'm just looking at the stuff and I love that I am not sure that I am real.
Yeah, that's one of I did some studies for this painting that I just had up uh, in at a show in Reston. And so all those are like studies for it. And then the one that's above me is
The unlearn.
I am, this one is the study for the piece called I Am the End of the Patriarchy and So Can You, which you can see at the very bottom.
Yes, yes, yes.
Um, and so, yeah, so that piece was a study for the central tapestry that I painted. And that's going to be in this show. And that was actually purchased by Zoe Charlton, which I'm really,
Really?
really
Oh,
excited to
wow.
hand off to her once this whole show is done.
Yeah. Oh boy.
And this over here, this
Trees?
yarn painting.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's a yarn painting that my mother did.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I love the whatever you would call it, entanglement, twinning. Are you talking about the trees?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's like hands holding, people standing next to each other.
Hmm.
I love trees.
Yeah.
They're very humanoid.
I don't feel like I see them enough right now because, I don't go outside as much.
I'm outside a lot with the dogs.
That's good. Yeah, I should that maybe once school is done, I'm going to get a dog and that'll help me get outside because I have not.
Well, we could walk around Lake Montebello and go up that street and see that house from the road.
Hmm.
That weird, which I looked at, I thought, except I didn't like all the furniture, so I didn't even think about maybe trying to buy it. It was a whole lot less the last time it was for sale.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is a very cute house. I
Oh,
wish I could buy it.
I
That'd
know,
be an amazing studio.
I know,
It would
I
be
know.
such an amazing studio.
And it's like a fairy tale because it's in the middle of these woods that encircle it.
Hmm. Well, if you're out there and you're watching this and that house hasn't sold yet, this show could use a whole studio house. And that would be perfect for it. So if you want
Yeah.
to buy me that house, put on, let's
Yeah.
exchange on a bigger scale. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Linda, this has been so great. I'm really enjoying
Wonderful.
everything. I wish I could just like talk to you forever.
I know. I know.
Of course. What do you have? Do you have anything coming up?
You mean outside of my own life, I mean, inside the house and all that?
Yeah, I'm
No,
listening.
just writing. I'm writing a poem, a very long poem, which one of my friends says I should shorten, but I want it to be even longer. It's called The Repatriation of Rocks. And it's about, because I collect rocks also, as you know, and there's no way you could repatriate them. And no rocks have ever been repatriated. I mean, they wash up on shores, they tumble out of volcanoes, and you can't take them home again.
Mm,
But anyway, so that's a project that I'm working on, and also increasing my vocabulary. Like these just happen to be here. I didn't put All right, so Kuleshov effect. Do you know that? That's the tendency of audiences to invent a narrative connection between any two images in sequence.
Mhm.
That's cinema. And then studies involving fruit flies, known to science as Drosophila melanogaster. And I just love that sound. And the final word is geoglyphs, which is an ancient art where they would, over many acres, these ancient people would move rocks, leaving lighter colored sand underneath to form huge designs in the desert. And all of that really resonates with me.
That's
So maybe
amazing.
I'll go out and move some of those boulders around in my yard, you know.
That's
So
amazing.
anyway, that's it.
Linda, you are my favorite. Thank you for helping me kick this off.
Thank you, Rain. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And if you want to walk around Lake Montebello, just email me.
Okay.
Because the dogs love it. You know, we just takes about an hour and a half if you go with dogs, you know, because they
Yeah.
have to smell
Yeah, they
everything.
got to do all the things. Well,
Okay.
I can't say when, but yes, let's do this
All
thing.
right.
It would be so
Okay.
much fun.
And give my best to Kristen.
I will. I
Okay.
will.
Bye, dear.
Bye.